Hey there guys, gals, non-binary pals, and welcome to My Round of Ruminations, although it's not exactly a My Round of Ruminations. It's kind of tied into I buy that for $1. So I thought, let's put up a video where I'm just going to talk about my free-to-play recommendations right now. Because I haven't done an I play that for $1 for quite a while. And there are quite a few good free-to-play games out there at the moment. So right off the bat, Warframe. Warframe 2017 is an almost entirely different game. You're still playing a super-powered space ninja with swords and guns and all the rest of it. It's still that game, but they've re-spec'd so much of the game. The movement has been altered and made tighter and more pleasurable to play. The weapons that have been cycled out of the vault and back in are much more interesting. My personal favorite is the bolter, which is basically a machine gun that fires darts and pins enemies to walls. It's great. The story has been expanded on to a large degree. You can still go through the background of the story up to the present. It now has an open area, an open world area called the Plains of Aedolos, I think it is, which I haven't really gotten into very much yet, but thoroughly enjoying what I am doing with it. I really recommend it. It's a very good game now. It's a very fun game. It's very well balanced. It's well worth it. It's actually worth your time. Next, I would very much recommend World of Warships right now. World of Warships has changed a lot since I did my first 5-episode Let's Play of it. It's now includes British and Chinese ships, so you have a lot more choice. They're continuously tweaking the balance in the game. There are some pay-to-win aspects to it, I'm not going to lie. However, they are largely overwritten just by how good the gameplay is. If you're good and if you take the time to learn your ships, you can beat people who have paid to win just by being a sneaky bastard. I highly recommend it. I think it's a fantastic game. I think it's really, really fun. Again, it's worth your time. Next, on the BattleNet, StarCraft. Blizzard have released several of their games lately as free-to-plays. I mean, there's always Hearthstone, which admittedly doesn't speak to me. Card games are not really my thing. I've given it a good shot, and I can see the potential in it, but it just doesn't really work for me personally. However, StarCraft does. StarCraft is a lot of fun. As far as I can remember, StarCraft 2 is also free-to-play at this point. The standard version, the HD version, you have to buy. But it's not expensive. Worth playing, well worth playing. Blackthorn is available. I can't remember if that's free playing or not, but if you like old style kind of puzzle shooters, you'll enjoy Blackthorn. Well worth it, well worth your look, well worth your time. Trying to think what else is there. There's quite a few. Star Trek Online. If you've watched my channel, you know I love Star Trek Online. But I kind of go hot and cold with it because it's the kind of game where you can get overburdened with it quite quickly. But right now, it's a good time to join. There's a subsection of the game which is set in the original series time frame. There is, which you can actually create a character specifically for, which is fantastic. It's not just like a Yesterday's Enterprise episode where you kind of go back in time for a mission and that's it. It's not like that anymore. It's set there and you pay a temporal agent. It's fantastic. I really recommend it. They've also overhauled quite a lot in it. Some of it, if you're like me and you played way back when it launched, some of it's quite confusing. But if you're coming into it fresh now, you're going to get a lot of time and you're going to get a lot of fun out of it. You're going to get a lot of enjoyment out of it. And it's Star Trek. And more as time has gone by, it feels more and more like playing episodes of Star Trek, which is a very big compliment. Very big. Although I'm kind of dreading them bringing in the Star Trek Discovery stuff in because I hate Star Trek Discovery. And finally, and I can't believe I'm doing this, but I would really like to recommend EVE Online. Oh, crap. What the hell's going on? My computer has gone crazy. Is that better? Is that better? I think that's better. Sorry about that. For some reason, my CPU topped out and things went wrong. So, yeah, EVE Online. Now, I played EVE about 4 years back, 5 years back, and I did enjoy it to a degree. My problem with EVE has always been that at this point going into the game, you're at a disadvantage, a huge disadvantage, because you're really becoming a tiny fish in a big, but not that big pond. You know, there's a lot of players out there, and there's a lot of players who are really souped up. That said, there are ways in which you can compete, and ways in which you can definitely have an impact on the universe of EVE. Way back when, I created a small coalition of destroyer pilots, because I specialized in destroyers. They're a much maligned and unloved ship in EVE Online. Everyone wants the big thing, but I want the small capital ship that moves really quickly and you have to be smart with. And that is one way of doing it, is to have like a coalition of people who will cooperate with one another and actively go out and hunt pirates. You know, okay, fine, the pirate shows up in a light or a medium cruiser, and okay, that's bad. It's going to be really bad for him if you've got like 10, 20 destroyers barreling down on him, and they're all basically glass cannons. They're all designed to hit as hard as possible and just go. It's good fun. It's good fun. The other thing I would say about EVE Online, while I do highly recommend it, I highly recommend it for the same reason that I would be recommending Elite Dangerous if this wasn't a free-to-play video. And that is, I really enjoy space trucking. You know, I like finding the trade route. I like surviving that trade route. I like finding a trade route that isn't complete, that is safe but not boring. To put it another way, that there's a good that there's a moderate chance you're going to be attacked and you're going to have to figure a way out of it. I like that. I really enjoy that aspect of those types of games. But that's me. So unless you're the kind of person that, you know, enjoys figuring out the mathematics of, is this worthwhile? How do I find the most bang for my buck? How do I create the shortest route? Things like that. You might not be the right person for EVE Online. It's the kind of game where you have to kind of enjoy that aspect of gaming. It's one of the reasons why I like clicker games like Cookie Cutter or Time Clickers or Clicker Heroes, because a lot of them, it comes down to figuring out the mathematics of what's the best thing to buy next so that you get the fastest progression. I think it comes from being a tabletop role player. That's all math as well. But yeah, so those are my recommendations. Out of all of them, if I'm to recommend one above anything else, it's going to be Warframe. There's so much to it. There's the fact that it is a straight up third-person shooter, but it can also be played as a stealth game. And stealth can be quite a potent tool in it. The fact that there are so many different ways to play, and that there is no right way to play. How friendly and accepting the community are, and they are amazing. The community in Warframe are incredible. So if I was to recommend one above all others, it would be Warframe. If you're running a system that is even like the lower mid-range, you should be able to run it. I mean, my PC was able to run it with very little problem even before I put in the new graphics card. And as I said before, there's nothing in the system other than my graphics card that is less than 7 years old. And it was still running it. So it should be fairly accessible for most of you. I highly recommend playing it with a controller, because it's one of those games that begs to be played with a controller, although it feels a little awkward at start to begin with, but it's actually pretty easy to play when you get down to it. Yeah, so that's my recommendation out of all of them, Warframe. Anyway, I hope you all had a great Christmas. I hope you all have a great day. Be good. Bye for now.